This is Chuck Marone. Hey everybody, I've seen a couple of reports now. One from City of Tampa Bay, which I love you, Tampa Bay. Don't be cheeky. The other one from the US DOT. Both of these reports were along the lines of, hey, we know that, crashes went up, fatalities went up during the pandemic, but hey, we've taken really solid steps. We've done some really serious things, and now traffic deaths are going down. Things are safer, things are better, everything's looking good. We're on the right track. Oh, so aggravating. Let me give you the reality of what's going on, right? Because this is something that, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to sound a little goofy here, but I'm going to say, like, our media will not report this. I do not know why. We have talked to every kind of national media outlet. We've been pushing this story since like the opening days of the pandemic. No one wants to talk about this, and it's very, very frustrating because it's not hard to discern. Engineers measure fatality rates in vehicle miles traveled. If you look at fatality rates over time, you'll see that in the engineer's preferred way of measuring this, vehicle miles traveled, fatality rates have come way, way down over time. They will point to all the great things we've done regarding road engineering, regarding seatbelts and enforcement and public awareness and all this, and they'll point to all these things. If you look at deaths over time, what you will actually see, if you look at this, is that deaths are most closely associated, especially since the 1980s, with traffic congestion. The more delayed we are in traffic, the more we're sitting in stop and go traffic, the fewer people die. And most of the deaths that happen on our roadways happen in off-peak hours. They happen late at night, they happen early in the morning, they happen when the roads are under capacity. We continue to believe as engineers, as traffic safety officials, that traffic safety is all about reckless drivers, mistakes that drivers make. 94% of all crashes supposedly are caused by mistakes that drivers make. That's the basis of our system. We had a natural experiment at the beginning of COVID, right? Average daily traffic, the amount people were driving, collapsed. Congestion went to zero. According to the standard theories of engineers, according to the standard way that professional engineers look at traffic, deaths should have gone to near zero. They should have dropped because nobody was driving. The vehicle miles traveled were way down. And when you look at deaths per vehicle miles traveled, it goes, way, way down. The rate is what they talk about. The rate should have gone way, way down. The total number of drivers should have been way down. Instead, what happened? It spiked. It went up. Fewer people were driving. Deaths went up. How do we explain this? This is where I get mad at the media. I get mad at the institutions, traffic safety institutions, the universities that are given money to study this stuff, because they said insane stuff. They said the pandemic broke us. It made us into reckless, crazy people. All of a sudden, the pandemic started. People started driving without seatbelts. They started drinking and driving. They started doing all kinds of reckless, crazy stuff, and people started dying. There was even one report that people were refusing to get vaccinated, and if you were unvaccinated, that meant you were more likely to get, they showed this correlation between people who were more likely to be in crashes. This is so silly. What happened is that we took away the congestion. You took away the thing that was stopping people from driving fast. And so what happened is that the over-engineered roads and streets were, in a sense, revealed for what they are, which is over-designed and over-engineered. And people drove the speed that the system is designed for. We overbuild, we over-design, we over-engineer. We have over-constructed all this stuff. We've designed it for high speeds, for high aggression, and that's the outcome that we get. When you throw a bunch of congestion in place, you actually can reduce that effect. The bizarre thing is that you're still paying for the over-engineering, you just don't get to utilize it because everybody's backed up. There's so much congestion. The pandemic took that away, and people just drove with the streets and the roads are designed to drive, and lots of people died. Lots of people died. Now, when we hear from Tampa Bay, when we hear from the US DOT, They will say, hey, look, we've done all this stuff and we're reducing crashes now. We've done all this stuff and deaths are going down. Things are getting better. No, do you know what's happened? Congestion's back up to pre-pandemic levels. Traffic delays are back up to pre-pandemic levels. The natural experiment that we had has now 2 data points. One, when you eliminate congestion, death goes up. The second, when you bring congestion back up, deaths go down. It's a direct correlation. When are we going to wake up and start talking about this? When are we going to wake up and start reporting on this? Our roads and streets are fundamentally unsafe. They are over-engineered, they are over-designed, they are overbuilt. This over-design and over-engineering is not only ridiculously expensive, not only actually leads to a tremendously unproductive development pattern, it's actually ruining our cities, bankrupting our places, but it is inherently unsafe. And we will never, ever get to vision zero or towards zero deaths or driving to zero, whatever your state slogan is, as long as we keep this engineering design framework in place. The only way we'll get out of it is if we have 24 hours a day of congested roadways, right? We just have 24-hour-a-day congestion, and then our roadways will be really safe. And then Tampa Bay and the US DOT and every other city with a Vision Zero plan can say, hey, look how genius we are. Look how much we've done. All of this crazy stuff about public information campaigns, shaming the drivers, let's get more enforcement. Let's, let's engineer this. If you look at the engineering projects we get out of these systems, it'd be like, let's, work on making this traffic flow better here. All of this stuff is making the problem worse. It's not getting to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is that we're spending ridiculous sums of money to over-design and over-engineer our transportation system to be unsafe. We could save a ton of money. We could actually build way better places and have our streets be safe for everybody. This is a shift we have to make. And I'm getting frustrated, continuing to talk about it in this way, because this shift is long overdue. We've got the data, we've got the data points. It's obvious it's sitting in front of us. We just got to start making a different choice.